Woko yale yalumao, yale. Oh me ape, I am a Romeo. Our story begins in the year 1415. The last two popes have drained the European economy, and in an effort to strengthen their economy, Portugal begins the invasion of its closest neighbor, Africa. They begin by invading the northernmost city, Quetta, where today still French, Portuguese, Spanish, and Arabic are still spoken. By 1481, they've conquered all of Western Central Africa. And in an effort to strengthen their economy, Spain, starts looking at an idea to expand their empire as well. It is the time of the great mathematician Strabo and many other thinkers who are questioning the doctrines imposed by the Catholic Church. It is the time of a young man from Genoa, Italy, who has been studying navigation in Portugal. His name, Cristoforo Colombo. He has what is known in psychology as an idea fixa, a fixation on a certain idea. He feels that if he can sail in the direction of the setting sun, he will find a shorter route to India. Any European nation that finds this shorter route will rule the world. And so, his fellow navigation students tell him, Cristoforo, you are crazy enough and bold enough that your idea is certain. So he begins to petition with every European leader for help for his voyage. Everyone turns him down. But something momentous happens. On January 2nd, 1492, the last African king of Spain, Abdullah, is thrown out of power. Now, Spain is united under one common religious doctrine. Because of the Catholic Bishop Torquemada, anyone who is not Catholic must convert or face the penalty of death or leave Spain. So anyone who was of the Muslim faith or the Jewish faith could face death if they did not become conversos. Many of them did, but many fled. Now, because Spain is united under one common doctrine, they are poised to also begin their expansion. And so, finding favor with Isabella and Fernando, his true name, the King and Queen of Spain, you know the story. Columbus, as he is known today, is given 3 small ships and about 100 men. Each ship is no bigger than this middle row in the auditorium. On August 2nd, 1492, from Barro de España, these ships sail out. On October 12, 1492, someone yelled from the Sanabria, the largest ship, that they see land. It is the small island known by the Arawak people in the Caribbean. As Guanahani. Colón, as it became known in España, goes to the beach. Y él planta la bandera de España. He plants the flag of Spain on the beach and claims that this is the sovereign territory of the king and queen of Spain. Imagine if someone came to your house and said, "This home is now my home. It does not belong to you anymore." The native Arawak people came out of curiosity onto the beach. These men from Europe smelled differently, looked differently, dressed differently. The ships that they used were different. And so, to Colón and his men, these Arawak people also looked strange. But hanging from their ears, their noses, their wrists, their waists, and their ankles was the monetary value that Europe cherished. Gold. And so, Colón, on his return voyage, became lost. But finally, his Moorish navigator, Carlos Pinzón, saved him. And they landed in Portugal. The king and queen of Portugal were advised by the court to kill Columbus and all of his men. But the king of Portugal makes a momentous decision. And he says, "No, let them leave. Let's see what happens." And so Colón exaggerated the claims of gold to be found in El Caribe. And because of those exaggerations, España gave him 15 ships and over 1,500 men to start the conquista, the conquering of the then Caribbean. On Columbus's third voyage, a young Catholic priest by the name of Bartolomé de las Casas, as he would baptize the men of the Arawak people before they were shot, hanged, or killed by dogs, he fell to his knees asking for forgiveness. Because he had been annotating all of the atrocities committed by the Spanish, raping, pillaging, plundering, infanticide, in their search for the gold that they were seeking. And so he dropped to his knees asking God forgiveness, remembering about the sovereignty of human beings as he had been taught from the Bible. And he came up with an idea. In order to save the native population, let us bring people from Africa. We can deal with the Portuguese who have already conquered Western Central Africa, and maybe fix that uneasy alliance that we have. And so, in 1502, 50 Africans are sent to what is known as Quisqueya by the native Arawaks. You know it today as the Dominican Republic in Haiti. By 1507, Africans as slaves appeared in my ancestral homeland, Boriquen, the Arawak Taino name of Puerto Rico, which translates into land of the gods, land of the brave men and women. And to Cuba, led by the Arawak chief Kubanacan, the largest island in the Caribbean with the most natural resources. It became the jewel of the castle in the growing empire in the Caribbean of España. But the Spanish had studied the treatises of the ancient Romans, who had written about how to treat their slaves when they were captured, so they would be loyal to the crown. By Spanish law, everyone of African descent had to be taught how to read and write and convert to Catholicism. Priests on all of the islands, particularly on the island of Cuba, would preach the Word of God, the Holy Trinity, to these African peoples. Bantu Congolese first. From them we get this drum known as the conga drum today. The mighty Yoruba, who developed city-states centuries before Europeans. The Arara from southern Nigeria. And the Karabali, who speak the language known as Efik. From them, we get the word bongo, which means drum, but it also means the truth. And in Chevere, someone who is elegant, who is down, someone who is cool. And so, they also set up cabildos, based on the ancient social clubs for men in southern Spain, so that Africans could gather. And these cabildos, they relived their culture again, particularly on the island of Cuba. The great Cuban ethnomusicologist Dr. Fernando Ortiz called this new culture Afro-Cuban culture, the fusion of Spain and Africa. It was not uncommon back then, and to this day, for people to use Africanisms mixed in with Spanish. Oye, Monina. Hey, my good friend. En aquí. En esta casa, in this house, yo soy el mocongo más chévere. I am the coolest and the downest of chiefs. And so, people of African descent in Cuba learned the ancient hymns of the Catholic Church. Yo te salve María, llena eres de bondad. Yo te salve María, llena eres de bondad. But in the evenings, you might hear the ancient praise songs of the mighty Yoruba people from Nigeria, who were the last to be brought in chains in the 19th century. Their songs resound and inspire all of us in the world that we call salsa, in the rhythms of New Orleans, Louisiana, the funk of James Brown, the mambo of maestros Tito Puente, Machito, and Tito Rodriguez. songs like this. Ogun, the Yoruba Orisha super being, warrior, the deity of metal, the patron of all workers. You want a job? Sing to Ogun. And so, Africa and España became so united on the island of Cuba that you couldn't tell one from the other. But of course, Spain had already had an African history. The Muslim Empire had ruled there for over 700 years. But what happens when two cultures collide? A new culture is created. And as I said before, the great Cuban ethnomusicologist, Dr. Fernando Ortiz, who actually was originally a criminologist and was writing a book excluding his racist ideas, blaming all blacks in Cuba for crime. When he began to study them, these ancient cultures, he begged God for forgiveness because he realized these people had a complex religious belief system, an even more cosmic, complex rhythmic system and musical system and sensibility. And so he began championing Afro-Cuban culture wherever he spoke. The fruition of this fusion, the fusion of Spain and Cuba, began manifesting itself in various ways. In the eastern part of Cuba, it produced what we call el son, the folk song tradition of eastern Cuba, the root of what we call salsa today. This rhythm that I'm tapping out from Africa that became known as the clave, grounding the rhythm in rhythmic simplicity and complexity at the same time with Spanish melody and harmony. Estoy tan enamorado de la negrita Tomasa que cuando se va de casa, pero qué triste me pongo. Estoy tan enamorado de la negrita Tomasa que cuando se va de casa, pero qué triste me pongo. Óyelo bien, óyelo bien, oye ya me son, esa negra que pinta Santa Cámara que me dio vino, esa negra linda Santa Cámara que me dio vino. Ay, lo más que me gusta es la comida que cocina, lo más que me gusta es la café que mi negrita me cuenta, lo más que me gusta es la comida que ella cocina, lo más que me gusta es la café que mi negrita me cuenta. Ay, oye ya me son, oye, esa negra que linda Santa Cámara me dio vino, esa negra linda Santa Cámara que me kikiribu, manteca kikiribu, manteca kikiribu, manteca kikiribu.